Hello and welcome to today's episode of Focus Atlanta. I am your host, Keisha Lancelin. Thanks so much for tuning in with us this Sunday afternoon. In our first segment, we're going to talk a little bit about something that millions of Americans deal with on a daily basis, and it is hair loss. I am here with plastic surgeon Dr. Stong, and we're going to talk a little bit about what he's seeing in his patients. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Keisha.
Now, tell me a little bit about this epidemic. I've always felt like hair loss was a hereditary type of thing. Is that not the case in terms of men and women?
100% it's the case. The most common cause of hair loss is genetic hair loss. Both in male and female pattern hair loss, it's primarily caused by a genetic sensitivity passed down to you from your ancestors or a sensitivity to a byproduct of testosterone breakdown called DHT or dihydrotestosterone. And that causes hair loss and then ultimately kills the hair follicles for permanent hair loss.
So for the men and the women that you see, are you able to assist them in some way? Because I know that for some, it's just a matter of vanity, right? We don't want our hair loss. We don't want our hair, our crown is a part of who we are to some extent. But are you able to assist people who are finding that it's a little bit more than that? It's a little bit more than vanity. It's about self-esteem. It's about who they are.
Yeah, I don't even look at it as really vanity anymore. People just want to look as good as they feel these days. And there's a lot of great solutions for hair loss. The things that we primarily do here are more medical interventions. So there's non-surgical and then there are surgical options. The non-surgical can be anywhere from oral finasteride, topical minoxidil, also platelet-rich plasma injections into the scalp. And then if those don't hold people, we can move hair from the back of the head up to the areas where they're thinning or balding for permanent hair restoration.
What do your patients say afterwards? Because again, I feel like there's a different level of how you feel about yourself when you feel 100%, when you feel like you're your best self. What kind of responses do you have from patients after you've done some type of treatment?
They're super thrilled and super happy. We just get no complaints or problems from hair restoration transplant procedures. They just feel more confident. And that boils over into many facets of their life, not just their personal and social life, but also their professional lives.
Now, the fact that it's, millions of Americans go through this, again, you would think that most of us wouldn't feel so self-conscious, right? We wouldn't feel, the vanity issues, and we wouldn't feel so terrible. But people really do have a connection to their hair. They feel like it's a part of them. What do you say to patients who, kind of need to be coaxed into figuring out what would be the best option for them because they feel a little guilty? Again, most of us think of it as vanity. I love the fact that you said that it's not really vanity at all. But most people think that, that's what it is. Oh, I'm being silly. It's just a vanity thing. But that's not necessarily the case.
Not at all. And in fact, I think probably the difference between maybe what you might hear and what I hear are the people who've already made it into my practice or decided to schedule a consultation have decided that it's not a vanity issue and that they want to do everything to keep their a full head of hair for as long as humanly possible.
Oh, I love that. So tell me a little bit about your practice. Is there a website or can we learn more about you and some of the options? Because I think, again, sometimes from the outside looking in, when this starts to happen to people, they feel like, oh, there's nothing I can do. Like, it happened to my father, it's going to happen to me. You know what I mean? That's what a lot of the men say. It happened to my grandfather and my dad, it's going to happen to me. Where can they learn more?
Yeah, well, just sort of piggybacking on what you just said, less than 2% of men actually seek treatment for hair loss, and they oftentimes just shave their head because they don't know about all the options. And then, the most devastating cases that we treat are females with significant hair loss. That's a really difficult problem for them emotionally and psychologically. But to find out more information about our procedures that we do here, I have 2 or 3 websites actually, but the main one for hair restoration is Kalos, Kalos, Kalos Hair Transplant.com.
Excellent. Thanks so much for coming on the show and sharing all this information and setting our minds at ease. Again, I think that many of us try to make it seem like, or try to make ourselves feel like we're just being silly. But it's not that at all. It's really a part of who you are. It's a part of how you feel. And it's just amazing that you're able to give that back to people. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, if this pertains to you, you do not have to suffer in silence. You do not have to just go along, and do what your grandfather or what your father did. You can make some changes. Please go to the website, learn a little bit more, and perhaps there's an option that is for you. Our hair is truly a part of who we are.